Well, welcome once again to Calaveras Living. Now, if you've ever had the occasion to use the services of people who work for hospice, you know just how important it is and what great work they do to help people who are unfortunately terminally ill. We're very fortunate today to have the executive director of hospice for Calaveras and Amador counties, Dan Riordan, and there's an upcoming event, October 25th. It's going to be lots of fun to raise money for hospice. So, Dan, it's good to see you.
Hi, John. It's nice to see you, too.
And you've been executive director for a considerable time now.
I think I'm just finishing up 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you all do great work.
Thanks, John. Thank you very much.
Just in general, I mean, we're going to have hopefully a little fun today, too.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
The services that hospice provides,
Yeah.
I mean, what basic, I mean, I know some of them, but basically, what are the services?
Yeah. So, John, when an individual is nearing that end of life,
Yeah.
you know, they might make the decision to, you know, stop seeking curative treatment.
Yeah. Sometimes that's more painful than anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily improve your, you know, the quality of your life necessarily.
Yeah. Or it doesn't even necessarily prolong it even.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so hospice care is about serving the patient and family who have made that decision that what they'd like to do is get home in the comfort of their own home,
Yeah.
where they can, you know, be as comfortable as they can be and spend as much time as they can living out their life as fully as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of this misconception that, well, the day you go on hospice, we come over and we, you know, lay you down in the bed and hook you up to a bunch of stuff, and pretty soon you're gone. That just doesn't happen.
Because sometimes that can go on for a considerable length of time.
People live a long time
Yeah.
as they near the end of life, especially these days.
Sure.
And so what we do is we have a team of nurses, social workers, spiritual care providers, home health aides. So we go in and we meet with the family and with the patient and try to learn more about what is it that's going to be important to them during this time. Some people have goals, things they'd like to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my granddaughter is going to be born in 3 months. I sure would like to be alive, you know.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'd like to travel over to Hawaii. I have a brother there and I haven't seen him. We have a fella now who's a musician. I sure would like to play with my band one more time.
Oh, wow.
So that I could get a tape of this and share it with my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, whatever those things are, we build a plan of care that fits that patient and that family. And then based on what that plan of care is, we have those people come out to the home. We have volunteers who meet with the patient and family, do shopping, take them on trips. That's how I got started.
As a volunteer?
As a volunteer about 10 years ago or so.
About time you got paid.
Exactly. That's what was important to me. And so I said, I need to get paid for this.
No, but volunteers are so important.
I loved being a volunteer,
Yeah.
John, honestly. It was, I tell people this, because we do volunteer training each year for folks who think they might want to do that. And I tell you, my experience was, I'd knock on that patient's door, and for the next 4 hours that I was with that patient and family, my troubles, my little life, all that disappeared. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I don't know about you, but, you know, get out of your own way and
quit
be in
thinking of your
service.
own problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have the volunteers. We're lucky. Our agency is supported by, right now, over 200 volunteers in various capacities. Some of them sit with the patients and families, as I did. Those folks are called family support volunteers. Uh-huh. And then we have volunteers who work with children. We have another program we do in the counties that provides support for children. It's called a Grief Busters program. I don't know if you ever heard about that, John.
No, maybe I got to get a person like that.
Well, Grief Busters it's another program that we provide people in the community that it's for children. It's for school-age kids who've suffered the loss of a loved one. And their guardian is somehow wants to provide them with a little extra support as they work through their grief process. Yeah. You know, these days in the schools, they don't have as many counselors and things like that as they used to.
Yeah, I can't afford it.
Right. So we've got a group today, I think, of about 35 folks who we've trained to be able to sit with children and just help them through that process.
No,
so
and
it's
you
healthy.
Recruit and supervise all these activities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
That's quite a lot of responsibility.
It's really, the agency's grown a lot, John. The agency was established in 1982, so 32 years ago or so. And it was just volunteers. It was a handful of volunteers and a doctor.
Wow.
And one patient. So today, we've got, I think last year we served over 350 patients in both Amador and Calaveras County. I think we employ over 50 people. And so there's a lot going on. It's really grown to try to serve the communities more and more people. I mean, I'm a big believer in hospice. I think the time comes where the curative treatment may not be the best thing.
Yeah.
And so when somebody wants to make that choice, our goal is to be able to bring them the most qualified, caring staff of folks who will help
Well,
them.
evidently you must do it, because I've never heard a negative thing about hospice.
We're so lucky that way, because people really do appreciate the service. And our team in particular, John, I'll tell you about there's a certification that's available for hospice nurses. And it's called being certified in hospice and palliative care. And what it means is that you've spent extra time learning about drug interactions, how to manage pain, that type of thing, and that you're really good at it. So in our place, the Hospice of Amador and Calaveras, 100% of our case managers, so like 12 or 13 of them, are certified.
Wow.
In the country, the average in a hospice agency is about 22%.
What a difference. Yeah.
So these are folks who really care about what they do.
Yeah.
They want to be good at it. So I love the agency that way, and I love the people that work there. It's a Medicare benefit, John. Hospice is. Medicare came up with this thing back in the 80s.
Great idea.
They send out people to audit and do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And since I'd been here, we've never been audited.
Oh, gee.
We've never been, and I look back in our records, and I couldn't see where we'd ever been audited. I mean, after the time we became Medicare certified. So my friend Kayla White, who's in charge of clinical care, we'd sit around, kind of wondering, boy, are these people ever going to show up? And because there's a lot of things you got to do right.
That's right.
Well, one day, and this was just about 6 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks ago, sitting on a Tuesday afternoon, in walks two people from Medicare. They just show up, because that's how they do it. They say, well, we're here. So for the next 3 days, they scrutinized every aspect of our hospice. They met with patients and families. They reviewed patient charting. They reviewed our business practices, our billing practices. And then they sit with our team at the end of the third day to give us the feedback. And I'm warning my team. I'm saying, hey, don't be discouraged. This is all good. This is a learning opportunity. We're going to learn some stuff. This is going to be okay.
Be helpful.
Right. And I feel that way about things. You're never going to get it all right. I mean, we can all learn something. Anyway, we're sitting around this table, and the woman comes in. She's got a partner. They're both RNs. And she looked around the table, and she said, well, I've never had this happen before, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. She looked at her partner, and she said, but we could find no deficiencies. She said, we couldn't find one thing to write up about you. We were flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Because honestly, these days, we hear horror stories about these audits, and it's because, but the reason I bring that up is because they told me that it's virtually unheard of.
Oh, I would think so.
She said it was just a real reflection of the deep caring of everybody who works in the agency and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Always keeping the patient and family first. And so I called there's a national organization called the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization. They're in Washington, D.C. I called them up and told them about this just to see, how often does this happen? The woman said, I've never heard of it. And we'd like to do an article about your hospice here. And that hasn't happened. But I just felt really positive about that kind of feedback.
Good.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this executive director is a man of many talents, and I don't want to let a lot of time pass before going into the October 25th event that's coming up. It's called Calaveras Live.
Right.
And you're going to be the host of that. It's like a television show, right? But even though it's at Black Bart Playhouse, but it's staged like a television talk show. Huh?
Yeah, that's right, John. It's staged kind of like a late night show with Letterman or Johnny Carson or one of those guys. Right?
Okay.
And we did it last year. And, you know, we do it because I was telling you, you know, Medicare, you know, we're funded by Medicare, but it's not enough. It doesn't pay for what we do. We need money.
Sure.
So this is a fundraising event. And so we did it last year for the first time. And we had about 100 or so, you know, paying folks there that night. And after the show, virtually all of them, they'd stop us at the end and say, you know, come back next year. We'll fill this place up. This was a delightful show. So we got great feedback about that. So we're coming back. And I've got my friends from Plan B, which is a local band. And they're our house band. So they sit up on the stage with us. I've got the couch set up and the desk kind of like what you've got here.
Yeah.
And then I invite various guests to come on.
Yeah. Now, who are your major guests this year?
Well, let's see. We've got Mark Dyken. You know Mark? You know the Dyken family?
I know the name, but I don't know them.
You know, really well-known family in the community. Mark and I got to be friends after last year. Mark's got a lot of talent. He's a musician, and last year he did some drumming. And also, these folks, whatever they do, before they start, they come up and we talk. And what happened last year, it was really interesting. They all had great stories to tell about their own personal lives and sometimes experiences with hospice. So we try to tie it all together. We've also got a fella named Grover Anderson, and you can check him out on YouTube, Grover Anderson. He went to school here at Bret Hart, I understand. Now, we've exchanged emails, and I've seen him on YouTube, but we haven't chatted yet. So I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Is he an entertainer, too?
He's an entertainer. He's a singer-songwriter. And you know who told me about him was Tammy, who does one of the shows here on the channel. She had interviewed him one day and said, Dan, you got to meet Grover. He's fabulous. So he's going to be joining us. We also have a physician and her brother who's a jazz musician, and they grew up in Amador County, and she's a singer. And she wants to come and talk a little bit about hospice, and then they're going to do a couple of jazz tunes.
And who will accompany them when they're singing?
Well, the young man, I understand, is a jazz guitar player. So the two of them, they'll just do a duo.
Good. Now, are you going to do any numbers yourself?
You know, what we did last year, and what I'm still contemplating, and I'm working on a song. If we get a chance, maybe I'll share a part of it with you.
Okay, well,
but I'm working.
Get a little snippet. We don't want to give them too much.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We want to give them just another say, I'd like to hear all of that.
Right, exactly. Well, last year we did a memorial video, John, where we invite people to send in a picture of their loved one who's died. And they sent us a $10 donation with this picture. We build a video, and we use that video as the show's finale at the end of the show. And we show that video. And last year, my friend Todd Paul, who's another fellow we'll talk about in a minute.
Well, he's kind of your headliner, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's the guy from Vegas. He and I played a song over that video. And so we're going to do the same type of thing this year, but with a different song. And so I'm experimenting with different songs.
So there'll be music, some laughs, some good stories.
Yeah. This guy's a great comic. I mean, he was excellent that night. He was going places that was making me very nervous. As the executive director, I'm thinking, is it okay to be saying this?
Yeah, you get the government inspectors back and say, we can't have this man's moral quality.
That's right. We just found a deficiency, and it's in your moral qualities.
That's right. Yeah, the deficiency is your character.
Right, exactly.
But anyway, could we get you to do a little bit of what you're going to do there? And as I say, we don't want to give too much because we want all the people to come and fill that place.
I'd be happy to. This is a song that I did not write.
Okay, it caught on your
Thank you very
there.
much. This is actually a song that I just learned 4 days ago, but it's an older song. And so I'm not sure how this is going to go.
This is how Bob Dylan got started.
Well, Bob Dylan did this song.
Oh, did he?
And I thought Bob Dylan had written it. So, because I heard him over the weekend playing this song, and I thought, this is a beautiful song. I should learn this song. And then I went online to find it, and it wasn't under Bob Dylan. And it turns out that Donovan wrote it. Do you remember Donovan?
Oh, sure, yeah. From England, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So there's this, on YouTube, there's this great film of him doing this song. in his bell bottoms and his big afro and all that stuff. I won't be having that on, but I
You're
might
not
do
going to wear
this.
an afro?
I might do this song.
Okay.
Let's see here. In the chilly hours and minutes of uncertainty, I wanna be in the warm hold of your loving mind, to feel you all around me and to take your hand along the sand. Ah, but I may as well try and catch the wind.
What a nice song.
Isn't that a beautiful song?
Now, are you going to be playing a harmonica too?
So there's a little part that goes,
Okay.
let's see. Let's see if I can
You want me
sing
to hold that against your mouth?
When rain has hung the leaves with tears, I want you near to ease my fears and help me to leave all my blues behind. For standing in your heart is where I want to be, and I long to be. Ah, but I may as well try and catch the wind.
Well, what a
I may
nice
as well try and catch the wind.
Well, very nice. Are you going to be doing that song that night then?
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Well, I
What do you
recommend
think?
it. I think you should.
Should I do that song?
Yeah, that's really nice.
I thought it was a beautiful song. And it's
Yeah, it
just,
sure is. And
it
the
just-
title is
I think it's Catch the Wind,
Catch the Wind.
but I'm not positive about
Okay.
that.
Now, we
Yes.
got to cover all the details.
Thank
so
you.
it is October 25th. It is at the Black Bart Playhouse.
Yes, it is.
And it's to raise money for hospice in Amador and Calaveras counties. And the admission price, I think, in this area, it seems like, oh, that's high. But it really isn't that,
Yeah.
considering it's a tax-deductible gift.
Right.
And it's going to a wonderful charity. So it's
Right.
$45 if you buy tickets before, and
Right.
$50 if you buy them at the door.
Exactly. And that includes a wine reception, hors d'oeuvres provided by the Murphy's Hotel,
And an auction, too?
and an auction. We're having an auction, and some really good entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was talking about my friend Todd Paul.
Yeah.
He plays all over the world. He plays...
Not at once.
Not at once. I mean,
He's
he's
not
got
that
split
good.
personalities, but he's terrific. He really is.
What, he's both a comic and a musician?
Yeah, he is a musician. He started over in Amador County, juggling on the street years
Wow.
ago. That's where he and I met. And he's a character, one of the funniest guys I know, and a big heart. Both his folks were able to take advantage of hospice care. So every year we get together, and he says, what are we going to do this year? Let's do something.
What type of music does he do? What, country and western, or
He does more,
bluegrass,
electrified rock and stuff like that. And sometimes he works it into his show, and he may be doing some of that. We did a show 8 years ago or something in Amador County, and he was doing some pretty wild rock and stuff, and he would bring somebody up from the audience and bring them into it somehow. And they had a ball, and it was one of the funniest things I ever saw. And one time he brought his mother up from stage. This is before she passed.
Wow.
And she had fun too, I think.
Oh, that's good. Now,
But
how long do you envision that the show will be? Like, it'll be
Yeah.
two acts, really?
2 acts. So the doors open at 6:30, and we'll be pouring wine and having some nice food, and folks can
We
get
don't
a
want you
chance
drinking
to...
before.
No.
Because television hosts never drink.
No, absolutely not.
Excuse me, I hiccup.
What's that over there off camera, John?
So, 2 acts.
Yeah, 2 acts.
You have like audience warm up?
Yeah, the band's going to be up there doing a couple of tunes as the audience comes. I'll welcome everyone and do a little monologue. We'll start getting the guests out. We'll take a break. We'll have the auction. We'll hopefully raise some more money. We'll come back. We'll do the second act. We'll do the finale, and so from 6:30 to about 9:30, that type of thing.
That should be a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Right.
You're actually doing it like a television show. Will it be strictly timed, or it's kind of ad-lib? You can
It's
kind
not
of
strictly timed. It's a
Okay.
little bit ad-libbed. So, in fact, last year it was going over, and so I would say to the audience, is everybody okay, or do we need to get out of here? And they said, no, keep going, because we could cut it down if we needed to.
It's the ultimate compliment.
I know, I felt good about that.
Did you do any singing or playing last time?
I did. Last time I played with my wife, and she and I did a couple of John Prine songs. And it was beautiful. We had just learned those songs for that event.
Is she going to be there?
She'll be in the audience this time.
Okay.
She'll by her choice, not by my choice. She's fabulous. I mean, she's beautiful and a great singer.
Wow, that's good.
We've had some great sponsorship for our show.
Yeah, I know we were talking about that before the show. Who named some of them? Because
Yeah,
they've been very generous.
Yeah, American Legion Ambulance Service, Barron's Floor Covering, and Mark Twain Medical Center have each donated $1,000 to help us sponsor this show. Our friend Ron Reagan over at Assist Care Residential Care Facilities, our friends at Calaveras Lumber, Danielson Construction, Edward Jones, our friend Danelle Dix over there, and Kelly's Backflow Services have all donated $500.
Wow.
And so going into the show, we will have already raised about $7,500. It's a beautiful start. And these are people that we work with and each and every day, and we appreciate it so much. We need this kind of support.
Now, you kind of recruit the sponsors because you know them? I mean, you just...
Well, yeah, some are affiliated, some we do business with, some are friends of friends. And I've got, Tammy, who works here at the station, she goes out there and hits the pavement and tries to meet people and let them know what our story is, what we're doing, and would you like to be part of that? And so invites people to do that.
Okay, I have to kind of correct you. None of us here at the station really works hard.
Did I say that?
We have a good time. Yes, you said she
My
works
bad.
here, but we
Not-
just
but
have a
not
good
hard.
time meeting guests like you,
Good,
and
yeah, she
listening to
enjoys it.
music, and
She enjoys
and she's a funny person.
Yeah, Tammy is.
And she works for you regularly.
She does, yeah. She works with us doing both marketing types of things and community development. And she's in charge of the Grief Buster program that I was telling you about here in Calaveras County.
Yeah.
So she works with all of the school districts in Calaveras County. There are 3 different school districts and a lot of different schools. So she's got relationships with all those principals. And so that, like last year, I think we helped and supported over 100 children in Calaveras County alone who were just, needed somebody to partner up with, somebody who would show up and be with them on a weekly basis.
How do you, or she, or whoever does it at Hospice, how do you recruit new volunteers?
Yeah, well, a lot of times it's through opportunities like this, where I'm talking to people and out in the community. I do go out and I speak at a lot of service clubs and that type of thing. We advertise. And everywhere I go, I say, if you think that any part of what we do is something that you might want to get interested in, call us, at 223-5500 or the 736 number. And
That's in the book. Right?
yeah, they're both in the book. They're both on our website also.
Okay.
At www.hospiceofcalaveras.org, I think.
There, it's just on the screen right
Oh,
now.
great. Fabulous. So yeah, because I said we had a lot of volunteers, and we do, but we need a lot more volunteers. We need volunteers at the Angels Camp Thrift Store, for instance, which is one of those venues where it's a fundraiser every day because we're open 360 days a year. The community is really being generous about making donations to that store. And so we're keeping prices really low and just moving a lot of stuff out every day. And it takes a lot of people to do that work.
Well, I know my wife and I were out there just recently, and we had a moving sale, shall we say. Of course, people would come by and say, "Where are you moving to?"
Right.
Say, no, we moved here from up in the hills. Okay.
Exactly.
But we're thinking, my wife remarked that how much help it takes to screen those things, see what's saleable, what isn't, repair something, whatever it is.
It's a real process.
It's a chore for some people, but if they do it with the right attitude, then it's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's really a challenge to keep all that stuff moving. And the things that we're unable to sell, we recycle them for the most part. We have a relationship with a worldwide recycler. And so we still earn a little bit of money from that, and it keeps it out of the landfill. So that's good.
see there were a number of stuffed animals outside in the back.
Hanging out there?
Yes,
Yeah.
hanging out, having a good time with each other.
Having a good time.
But you specifically can't sell those, right? Because they were somebody's possession.
Yeah.
But I heard there's a cleaning service or something that spruces them up. And,
I'm not aware of that because that's not something we do.
oh, okay.
Because once again, the expense of doing that,
Oh.
you know, we want to be able to sell everything really reasonably.
Yeah,
50 cents, $1, $2, $2.50.
Yeah.
You know, last year, between those two stores, the income that was generated was over $1 million
Oh, wow.
between the two stores.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't get to keep all that because our margin isn't that high. You know, we bought that building, and so we have bills and we pay staff.
It is
But
a good location, too.
It's a great location.
Yeah, great
and
location.
It's a great store, I think.
Yeah.
So we, you know, thank you to the listeners and the viewers here who support that store. It's beautiful. We really appreciate it. Yeah.
Boy, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, let's just review everything, okay?
You bet.
We could
Because
question
there's one
every-
more guest
what date
that I
is
forgot.
It? Who was that?
That was Ed. When you talked about the animals, it reminded me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so Ed over at the Paws Sanctuary, Ed Stewart is out there, and his partner was Pat Derby.
Well,
And
you told me she was very well known.
Pat was really well known and did some beautiful work early on to, you know, fight for the rights of animals and things like that. She was also she was a trainer in Hollywood.
Said she trained Lassie?
She trained Lassie, I think.
Yeah. Well, he was well behaved.
Shady
Or was
Lassie
that a
was
she?
a she.
Okay. Shows what I know.
But Pat, you know, unfortunately, Pat died about a year ago or so, a year ago in February, about a year and a half now. But she died on our service, and we got to meet her, and our nurses were so impressed with that place that I called Ed the other day and I said, you know, do you want to come on this show and tell people a little bit about what you're doing out there with the elephants and all this stuff?
Yeah.
So we're putting together a little segment that'll
So he'll be one of the guests.
Ed'll be coming out. So I'm
Boy.
really
How
excited.
many guests total will you have, you think?
Oh, shoot. About 8 or something like that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have a lot of fun
Oh, it's
interviewing
great.
them.
Yeah, it'll be really fun.
And especially since most of it is extemporaneous. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't
right.
tell just what'll happen.
No, you never know, John, as you know. This isn't your first interview, right?
No, it isn't.
You've done this once or twice.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah.
great to see you,
It's
Dan.
good to see you, too.
And thanks for singing and
thank
playing.
you.
And
Thank you.
Don't forget, October 25th, Black Bart Playhouse. And it's all for the benefit of hospice. And it's just a great cause. And I guess just to go out to see any of those guests, Todd Paul himself. is
Exactly.
great.
And then if anybody has any further questions, call that 736-9442 number.
Okay.
736-9442, and
Okay.
we'll give you more information. We appreciate your support, everybody.
Well, we thank you and all the best of success.
Thanks, John.
Not only hosting the show, but
Yeah.
continuing to be the executive director.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We don't want government. I would just wish the government would come and investigate us and say there's nothing wrong.
I'm not sure what that really says about us when you put it like that, John.
If it's the inefficiency of the
I
government.
know. I never quite thought about it like that, but thanks for putting that question in my mind.
Anyway, it's good to see you.
Likewise.
We'll see you next time on Calaveras Living. Thanks for watching.